Hello, YouTubers. I'm Useful Idiot. Welcome. And today I want to go back to Iraq. And the stories that have been circulating that there are already U.S. combat forces on the ground. So this comes as no surprise to anybody. But an article came out that had a few more details, so I thought I would discuss it and point it out. And one of the things that made it interesting is these reports are coming from Zumar, Iraq, which is incidentally the same area that recent French airstrike took place. And this is an event that happened supposedly last September 2nd. And this is a reporter for the Daily Beast, so we have a first-hand account of these events. And supposedly we have U.S. troops working directly in the field with the Peshmerga. And like I say, let me back up a little bit and say that shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone who's paid attention to what's going on in Iraq and also understands how these things work. And the United States, for example, using the same sort of tactics that the United States accuses of Russia in Ukraine, and accurately so. But so what we have in a lot of cases is mercenaries, and as it turns out, the Russians are working more and more with private armies and mercenaries as well, not just the United States. So we have highly trained Western soldiers with no insignia arriving in Iraq and in Kurdistan, and as well as U.S. and Western Special Forces. And in fact, reporters arrived in Kurdistan, and the official said, quote, "Yes, we want to let you in, but we can't. We have visitors. You will see them," unquote. So here's a Kurdish official pointing out the fact that the Kurds are fine with reporters going into certain combat areas, but they have certain restrictions because you will see the visitors, unquote. And so, like I say, these are unmarked, with no insignia, and Western Special Forces. And contacts in the Kurdish intelligence, Peshmerga, said that, quote, "Yes, German and American forces are on the ground here, and they are helping to support us in the attack," unquote. And two things that are interesting about that. One is the idea that they're helping to support, and certainly that could also indicate just spotting and logistics and intelligence for attacks. But as we know, a lot of these operatives have to be in the field to perform those duties, and they will be in a combat zone, and therefore they're combat troops. And we know that the United States has acknowledged at least 1,600 U.S. troops on the ground in Iraq and in Kurdistan between Baghdad and Erbil. And so a substantial force, certainly with force multipliers, can be even more devastating. But rest assured, as I pointed out in other videos, that between the United States and the Baghdad government, we also have any number of mercenaries being used in Iraq. But more importantly is the idea that there's German special forces on the ground in Iraq. That would be a major revelation. As we know, they're restricted by their constitution from having forces overseas, and it was even a big decision for the Germans to help arm the Kurds. And yet now we have someone suggesting that we have German special forces on the ground in combat zones in Iraq. And of course the United States denies this, as they would, but Kurdish military and intelligence said that one team of U.S. Special Forces fought along with several German counterparts, and they were working with Peshmerga units. And according to Kurdish sources, U.S. and German special operations teams had taken up positions in Zumar that allowed them to coordinate with aircraft. So that's very telling. And like I say, it's certainly not an indication that there's a huge amount of U.S. forces on the ground. But all this squabbling about Obama saying that we will not have U.S. boots on the ground. There's already boots on the ground, and boots from all kinds of different countries, as a matter of fact. And the fact that we've already got 1,600 U.S. troops on the ground exposed to danger in Baghdad and in Erbil. And then we also have, as we see here, these operatives in the field who will also have support units with them. And also the bottom line being that we just know how the United States and other countries in the world do things, and this is how they do things. So to think that there's any other possibility other than U.S. troops are involved in combat one way or another in the United States right now. Another way to sidestep it, of course, is to have CIA, and we have a swapping of operatives a lot of times between different intelligence agencies. I think they call it sheep dipping, as a matter of fact, where they trade operatives, and all of a sudden somebody who's in the military is now in the CIA and is operative in Iraq and is not boots on the ground. How very convenient. So there's any number of ways around it, but certainly the ground is being laid for the idea of U.S. combat troops there in Iraq, saying we don't need them. Oh, no, we don't need them. All the while, like, please, please, we need them. And then the fact that we have generals taking the heat off of Obama kicking and screaming, saying, no, I will not send combat troops, while his generals plead to send combat troops. And so that seems like an inevitability somewhere down the road. As we've seen, the airstrikes alone, as many have suggested, are not going to be enough. We've already had somewhere around 200 U.S. airstrikes in Iraq, and ISIS continues to launch new offensives and hold on to their ground. So anyway, just a heads up. The media and the politicians and the military are massaging the public, getting them ready for the inevitability of some more ground presence by the United States. But I'm going to massage and butter people up even more and tell them it's already started. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too?